Good evening. I'm calling the meeting to order. This is Dr. Jennifer Jones, Board President. First item on the agenda is roll call. Scholar Representative,
Yandel Baron Toledo, Scholar Representative to the Board.
Director Murphy,
Joan Murphy, or Director Murphy, District 5.
Trudy Davis, Director, District 4.
Lakeisha Phillips, Director, District 3.
Jennifer Jones, Director, District 2.
Eric Gollings, Director, District 1.
Danny Pfeiffer, Superintendent.
Next is a presentation of colors by the Federal Way High School JROTC. Please rise if you are able.
Everyone, please join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry, colors. Right. Face. Forward. March.
You may now be seated. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting agenda. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
I move the Board of Education approve the meeting agenda for February 10, 2026 as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the required approvals agenda. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
I move the Board of Education approve the required approval agenda of February 10, 2026 as submitted.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is a legislative update. Director Phillips.
I don't have any major updates. We're still going through the legislative process. We're coming up to cutoff week here pretty soon. Anything, Dr. Pfeiffer?
I would say, unfortunately, I think that our bills that were sponsored by Rep. Reeves, drafted by Rep. Reeves, are kind of stuck in appropriations, which would indicate they're probably going to be dead. I don't think that they'll move forward. We're just keeping our eye on the LEA bill and some of the others related to MSOC as I'm looking at my legislative tracker here. And so there might be some more movement next week, but you're right, really, they're just in discussions right now, a lot of bills.
All right. Next item on the agenda is the Family and Community Engagement presentation. Dr. Pfeiffer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Family and Community Engagement Board, as you know, we have a pillar in our strategic plan that says schools can't do it alone. We also have a core belief that shares we see families as integral partners in their child's learning. And this evening, we'll provide an update on our family and community engagement efforts. This update will be provided on my behalf by our Deputy Superintendent, Marla Newton, and our Executive Director of the Office of Education, Equity, Ms. Sine Wright-Wilkins, or Education, Ms. Sine. Marla.
Good evening, Board President Dr. Jones, members of the board, scholar reps, and Dr. Superintendent Dr. Pfeiffer. Here we go. The purpose of tonight's presentation is to share with you an update on scholar and family engagement opportunities and strategies here in Federal Way Public Schools. The work of engagement of scholars and families aligns with Sub-End 3 and Executive Limitations 2A. Our strategic plan speaks to our core beliefs around scholars and families, and our vision for excellence specifically names the way that we want each and every scholar and family to feel, knowing that they are seen, heard, and valued as partners in their child's education. In Federal Way Public Schools, we define family engagement as a shared responsibility in which schools and community agencies and organizations are committed to reaching out to engage families in meaningful ways, and in which families are committed to actively supporting their children's learning and development. High impact family and community engagement is collaborative, culturally competent, and focused on improving children's learning. In order to meet those needs, we work to ensure that content and activities are aligned with school improvement efforts, that time is included to build relationship, share data, and model instructional practices that can be replicated at home. Listening is a key factor to ensuring authentic and impactful engagement with families, and honoring and incorporating content from their cultures, communicating in ways that they find effective, and making a successful bridge between both school and home. Family engagement works to empower parents and guardians to be active stewards of their child's educational process and facilitates family and community partnership in their school community through outreach, events, educational opportunities, and community and faith-based partnerships. One of the ways we measure the impact of our engagement strategies is through our Panorama survey data. Our latest data shows growth, with 77% of families reporting a positive school climate, and this is a continued upward trend. This progress reflects our focus on supportive relationships, social-emotional learning, and welcoming environments. Families help to ensure that we have strong communities. They are critical partners in supporting the education of the young people here within Federal Way Public Schools. This slide highlights the growth reported in family efficacy. This topic, while family partnerships and it's measured by survey data remained constant, there was growth that was reported in family efficacy, school climate, and school safety. When looking at both school safety and school fit, we have remained constant. When families know and feel that their child is safe at school, they are more likely to engage in their child's school programming. Sine is going to begin by sharing some of the ways we engage families and partner with them to meet scholar need. She's going to start with speaking to our Family Academy.
A hallmark in our district family engagement structure are our family academies. Family academies are monthly events designed to equip families with tools, resources, and connections that support their scholar success. By bringing together community partners and FWPS families, we aim to strengthen collaboration, elevate family voice, and provide access to learning opportunities beyond the school day. Our family academies, driven by family voice, empower families as leaders and build strong partnerships between our schools, our families, and our community organizations. They provide co-created learning opportunities for families, childcare for scholars 10 and under, a learning lab for scholars 10 to 14, community service hours for our high school scholars, and dinner for all. During our next Family Academy on February 19th, we will have, in addition to workshops around summer learning, AI, and literacy, we will also host a FAFSA lab that supports families with the completion of the FAFSA and WASFA applications, as well as a resource fair centered on summer connections, giving families access to explore programs and services that keep scholars engaged 365. Another key aspect of our family engagement are our family liaisons. Our family liaisons serve as bridge builders and connectors, connecting families to the tools and resources needed for their scholar success. Our family liaisons live in each one of our elementary schools and engage in monthly professional learning connected to family engagement, attendance, social emotional learning, academics, and relationship building strategies. While Family Academy is a district-wide family engagement structure, all of our schools engage in powerful programming that works to support their scholars and build relationships with their families. Some examples of this work include, but are not limited to, the Family Learning Day at Olympic View, where parents are invited to engage in lessons with their scholars, classes in the Parent Learning Center at Valhalla, where it serves as a welcoming hub for families, providing engagement opportunities like coffee with the principal, parent workshops on attendance, iReady, and language development, or the parenting series that Sunnycrest has been hosting at the Appian Way Apartments around attendance, brain science, and emotional regulation. As a result of those efforts and many more, we have seen an increased family participation in our schools, improved communication, and early identification of barriers.
Our partnership with communities and schools ensures that we provide additional supports at our secondary schools. Communities and Schools is present at our middle and high schools with a site coordinator at each location. CIS connects scholars to resources within our community, and they partner to meet the needs of students and families through donations, recommendations, mentoring, and field trips in and around the community. Another means for gathering voice, feedback, and input to Federal Way Public Schools is through both advisory settings and communicative, cultural, and educational gatherings. Dr. Pfeiffer meets monthly with a representative group of families, providing updates regarding the school system, sharing about district initiatives, and gathering family voice, input, and feedback regarding district areas of focus. Topics have included how to strengthen engagement, better means for communication, review of data such as Panorama, district initiatives such as MTSS, and more. These voices serve as critical means to continuously improving our systems. Schools can't do this work alone, and we have intentional efforts supporting family engagement at the school level as well. Parent and family advisories are held at each school campus, elementary through high school. Principals use the information and themes that they hear from families to shape next steps at the school level. They identify action steps, share data, and engage in authentic conversations around school, academic achievement, and social and emotional supports.
To ensure systemic approach, parent and family advisories at the building level follow a calendar of topics. This ensures that we are covering the same content at each school site and allows us to search for district-wide themes of success and areas of need. These topics are organized by elementary through middle school, shown here, as well as defined topics at the high school level, shown here. Listening to the voices of our families, it has been shared that there would be value in holding a specialized advisory for those scholars who receive specially designed instruction. New this year, these sessions will be tailored to families who have scholars on individualized education plans or IEPs. OSPI and PAVE provide research-based approaches to structuring these types of opportunities, and we will use that research to develop our own family structure here in Federal Way. Topics to gain clarity around and seek feedback and input on may include things such as how to navigate the IEP process, how to advocate for your child's educational needs, as well as the rights and responsibilities of those receiving special education services. In addition to programs like our Native Family Gatherings, are monthly advisories that support connection with our Native families and have provided additional opportunities for family voice. As an example, this past January's family advisory, families were allowed to experience interactive lessons directly from the John McCoy Lolita Since Time Immemorial curriculum and provide feedback around how to enhance the learning for their scholar success.
So through family communications, we work to ensure that families are informed and empowered. Our communications department has partnered with key departments to ensure that we have updated publications available in our top languages, including the Learning Partnership Guide and the Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. Thanks to new tools in Parent Square and support from our ITS department, we are able to send targeted communications to our families. We have developed a comprehensive communication plan that reaches all families with key school information. And this school year, we have a spotlight every Wednesday titled What's New Wednesday. Here, we are able to highlight key aspects of the school year, activities, instructional areas, and focus of more. Our newly revised website provides more accessibility and language access features. The site comes with a tool that is called Audio Eye, which is the standard in web accessibility. And we have been issued the Audio Eye Trusted Certification, which means we're meeting all web content accessibility guidelines. We are continuing to seek feedback from stakeholders, including our multilingual families, to ensure our website is the best possible tool for our families to use. The launch of Parent Square for all district and whole school communication has provided a platform that comes with more data tools, and we can now see exactly who our messages are reaching or not reaching so that we can target messaging to those who need them rather than overwhelming families with redundant communication. We will now share a little about the community partnerships that we have established. To help ensure that students and families have what they need, we partner with organizations that provide donations of school supplies, clothing, food, scholarships, mentoring, and more. The picture here highlights some partnerships with members both in and outside of Federal Way. And this slide shows many of the partnerships that we have established on behalf of our scholars. Through STOM partnerships, we help to ensure that our students and families have the resources that they need. Family and scholar engagement, along with community partnerships, ensure that our schools are positioned to meet the needs of the whole child. Research shows that family involvement increases academic achievement, as well as the likelihood of scholars continuing their education post-high school graduation. Our strategic plan calls out the point that schools can't do it alone, and we work hard as a system to ensure that families feel welcomed and valued as part of their child's education. Thank you for your time this evening. We are happy to entertain any questions if you might have them.
Thank you for that presentation. Board members, are there any questions?
Just one, thank you for the presentation. Being a parent and living in the community, I'm kind of well versed in some of these, and it's still good to see the continued persistence around how do we can engage with families. It's really hard when you're talking about 21,000 students. Really, that's 40, 50, 60,000 people that touch our system, which is really difficult. But I've seen continuous enhancement, even things like adding the calendar. I've really appreciated the push calendar, Parent View, Parent Square, curriculum nights, phone calls, text messages, emails, newsletters. No, these are good things. The newsletter just came, which my kid pulled it right out of the mailbox and knew that it was from his school. So I really appreciated that. I know we've talked about, oh yes, and even having a place for community members to get access to our newsletter so that we're making sure community is included in the notifications. I think we've talked about panorama data before, and particularly what stood out to me is the school fit and like how do you get, but there's no way to just ask like what, because it's a set, you know what I'm trying to say?
Norm reference.
They're non-referenced
it's-
questions, yeah. And that was, remember, they did some adjustments to their questions as well. So.
Yeah, I wish there was like a place to just have an open box of like, what does it mean that the school doesn't fit with you? Is it time? Is it childcare? Is it what they're offering? Is it ...
Well, I think that to your point, that would be a next step for our schools, for our principals, if they see a school fit drop in their overall data trend.
Okay, yeah, that would be nice. And then I really appreciated the outreach to apartments because I've heard quite a few community members mention how concerned they are with the number of kids that are coming out of apartments. So it is nice that we're doing some of those offerings right there in the community. I think we have a couple other larger buildings coming on board. So hopefully we continue to really be creative around connecting with families. And it's difficult when you have so many languages too. So it's really nice. You're trying to make it as accessible as possible. And I'll just say, I appreciated that you kept Zoom as an option for a lot of those. There's so many places that kind of dropped off, and then places I've been getting feedback where like that was actually really helpful for working families. So I noticed that you kind of stayed consistent on that, which is really nice. And then I love that you're bringing in our special education population because it is a good amount of our students and families. And I know just personally, but I've talked with other parents, I like that part about transitions because nobody tells you what to prep for moving from elementary to middle school. And nobody tells you what to do from middle school to high school, and then kind of like what you do after that. So I think having that committee could be very helpful for such a large population that we have. So thanks for your presentation.
I would like to interject. Likewise, I am so appreciative of the special ed. I know parents are probably elated with it. To have an opportunity to be with others from different schools to learn and understand the school district and the situation with their own kiddos. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you for making that happen.
Any other comments?
Most of the comments that I was planning to make have already been made, but I'm glad to see the Family Academy is coming back and that you added in the class about the FAFSA because it is so difficult to do and wonder where are my passwords that I had and all that other stuff. But that's a great thing. And then the family liaisons, I think a lot of people don't realize that they're there and how helpful they are. They're just kind of these little hidden gems, you know, but so we're grateful for them being in the schools. And then I like that you listed all the topics that they're doing at school, K through 8 and then 9 through 12th grades, so that we can be aware of what's being discussed with the principals and all. So that's a good thing. And then, of course, with the special education family advisory, I think that makes so much sense. The IEP process is difficult if you don't have everybody that can be there at the same time and you find yourself rescheduling it because you really need all the partners there. And this is exciting because it just keeps growing. We're going to have 2 pages soon that we have people in our community that think a lot of Federal Way School District. So that makes me feel good. And, you know, I might have to put a frame around this. And so just to know that we're not here doing this alone. We have people that care about what's going on in the schools. So thank you.
And Ms. Trudy, that's Director Davis, that's actually just what we could fit on that slide. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I did have some comments. Just wanted to thank you for the great work you're doing engaging with parents. I'm glad to see 99.8% of families reachable through Parent Square. So it's great to have everyone in one location. I'm also glad to see the engagement. My kids were at Sunnycrest, so it's great to see that school continuing to engage with the community just like they did when my kids were there. So thank you for all that work.
And I'm also impressed with the steady improvement in terms of family engagement through the panorama data, the increase in perceptions of school safety since a low of during the 2020 school year. And that's really good to see people feeling that their scholars are safe and comfortable at school. And I just wanted to call out the Family Academy. I noticed on the February one upcoming will be focused on summer, getting ready for summer in February, having parents and scholars think about what they're going to do in the summer. And I also wanted to mention, I see preparing for Highline College on there. So very good. Thank you. We're trying, but that's really being very proactive with families and helping them think about what's coming next for the young people. So young people have things to do in the summer. It's very important. So thank you for all that information. All right. Next item on the agenda is the INS2 monitoring report response approval. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
I move the Board of Education approve sub N2, a dream academic achievement is in compliance.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the district calendar approval for 2026, 2029. At this time, we'll entertain a motion.
The Board of Education approved the calendar proposal for 2026, 27, 2027, 28, and 2028, 29 school year as presented.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Any discussion? Hearing none,
Looks
all in
good.
favor? Oh, go ahead. Discussion?
Looks good.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is school reports. Is Izzy here? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Our district has been thriving with activities, student engagement, and many upcoming events. At Sequoia Middle School, school days have been running smoothly, classroom expectations and school policies are being consistently followed, and there has been no major concerns or disruptions. The school continues to focus on maintaining a positive and structured learning environment for their students. At Evergreen Middle School, staff and students are actively preparing for upcoming events and academic milestones. The school is planning its second dance of the year, and state testing has begun. Teachers are also working with students to complete unfinished or missing assignments, ensuring students are supported academically as the term progresses. At Thomas Jefferson High School, there has been strong focus on student leadership, engagement, and school community. Leadership events, assemblies, and student-led initiatives are currently underway. ASB is coordinating social events and fundraisers, such as their Blacklight Social, which is happening this week, and they have a Spirit Week leading up to it. And students are participating in meetings that support planning for future school years and continued involvement on campus. As we look ahead to high school planning nights, I believe that these events are most effective when both adults and students are intentionally involved. Administrators, counselors, and office staff play a critical role in facilitating and communicating essential information such as graduation requirements, course pathways, policies, and academic support services. This information is vital for ensuring students and families understand the expectations of high school, but at the same time, student involvement adds an important personal connection. From my own experience, hearing from students during high school planning night made my transition feel less overwhelming. While we often have club and activity booths, I think there's an opportunity to go even further by incorporating more small group interactions. This could include breakout sessions or rotations where students and families can ask questions about academics, extracurriculars, and student life in a more comfortable setting. Another effective approach I've seen in student-led campus is student-led campus tours. While not every high school may currently do this, at my school, student-led campus tours have been especially impactful. During these tours, incoming students and parents ask many questions about day-to-day life, school culture, and how to get involved. These conversations feel more natural and honest, and they help incoming students envision themselves as part of the school community. By combining clear adult-led information with meaningful student-led connections, such as small groups, discussions, and student-led tours, we can better support incoming high school students and ensure they feel informed, welcome, and confident as they begin their next chapter.
Thank you, Izzy. Yandel.
In today's report from Tafat Sahali, I heard that the last week of the first semester consisted mainly of catch-up days in order for scholars to get their grades up and to get feedback on their performance from their teachers. Along with that, they also had 2 field trips, one to the University of Washington for their high schoolers, and another one was for their culinary class. Their PSSC, or Puget Sound Skill Centers, for those who don't know, students also just concluded their finals, which came in the form of presentations, tests, or projects, depending on said class. On the topic of high school planning nights and how to ensure that scholars and families are aware of such events, I think there's a good amount of information that gets pushed through the normative ways of communication, whether it's email, student view, or social media. Though I think a deviation from the orthodox method could be of use in terms of like what we should aim to achieve is not just a passing of mere information. The informing is what happens at the events. The aim should then be adjusted to get people to said events to then receive the informing. I think personally, I really enjoy when my school gets visitors from military recruiters or college advisors because you get that one-on-one experience with them. The face-to-face passes a lot more than just information, rather emotion, drive, spirit. It sparks a curiosity in the courses, the same courses that were just names on the spreadsheet, like Intro to Marketing with the acronyms or odd letters before them, like NGSS Biology. All of a sudden became a whole path for them. They became excited toward them rather than scared of them. Campaigning for our scholars to know what the building they attend offers is a very important thing. Often I hear the same things from freshmen or sophomores. I didn't even know we had that class, or I didn't know I could earn college credits via our Cambridge program. I personally regret not taking certain classes due to the lack of information I had and due to the lack of accessibility of information there was in the same building. I was expected to make the decision to actually take the course. Sometimes the most information you'd get on a course before taking it was that you couldn't take it because there was a prerequisite. To learn, pick, and discuss said information all in one place and be convenient is the key first step toward building not just a better future, but a better contemporary environment. Let's be loud about our courses. Let's be proud about what we do here in Federal Way. Let everyone know the louder we are and the less shy we are, the further our reach. The noise of the world beyond our school doors will sound like a lion's roar to those who've never wielded the spirit to face the lion. But those who know the lion and have conquered it will not fear it. For the conquering of fear is merely a tool amidst the tool belt of the scholars of this district. Let's prepare all of our scholars with the spirit to conquer all the challenges beyond those doors, starting with familiarizing them with the path they'd like to take inside of our very school doors.
Thank you very much for those scholar representative reports, always insightful. Next item on the agenda is superintendent comments. Dr. Pfeiffer.
First, our future attorneys here to the right, both of them want to study law. So I know they're anxiously waiting their decisions from the colleges in which they applied. And so I'm always thinking about that, and I'm sending you the best of luck. So last week was National Counseling Week, and we celebrated our school counselors and our college and career specialists for guiding academic success and supporting social and emotional growth and helping our students be as successful as possible. And then think about that next step, post-secondary pursuit. I want to just highlight that their dedication at both the counseling level and the college and career specialist level really empowers our students to thrive and achieve their dreams. And we're really grateful for the difference that they make in our schools. We couldn't do the work without their dedicated support. I want to give a shout out to Todd Beamer's girls, a flag football team. They made it to state, and we're proud of them for reaching their milestone. Just a bunch of hard work out on the field, and I got to see several clips. I didn't get to make it to a game, but they are exceptional scholar athletes, I should say. So I'm excited to see what happens next for them. This month is our February CTE month, and we'll be highlighting through social media as well as events. Federal Way Public School students in grades 7 through 12, they're taking advantage of all the career and technical education courses that we have in the district. We might use some of Yondell and Izzy's ideas there as we plan forward for our next series of high school planning nights for next year. But remember, we have 86 unique CTE courses, and many of our students can earn dual credit and also industry recognized credentials. So a lot to celebrate, and we'll be giving those a shout out throughout the month. As our young people said, this week we do have high school planning nights as well as next week. So our 8th grade families, they come and visit their prospective high schools. They learn about courses, clubs, extracurriculars offered at the campus. And so we just want to keep reminding our families that there is an opportunity there, and to take advantage of that opportunity. They can learn everything about it by reaching out directly to their feeder high school or going right to our website where we have information around planning nights. Our Family Academy, as you heard, we have one coming up next week, and the 19th, 6 to 7:30 at Illahee Middle Schools. And the families can attend workshops about supporting their child during the summer, and then visit the ton of booths that we have. It's more of a resource fair for our families to make sure that our young people have what they need. We're also going to have a spotlight on financial aid, college applications, and completing the high school and beyond plans. As a reminder, today is special election, and we have a very important measure on the ballot, the Educational Programs and Operations Levy. It's a renewal levy. Please remember to cast the vote so it can be counted. Polls close or the box is shut down at 8 p.m. Our EP&O levy fills in the funding gaps to support programs, services, staffing, operations that are either underfunded or not funded at all by the state, one of which is athletics program, music, arts, staffing. The levy is the equivalency of about 245 staff. So it really is a critical funding source from our local community right back into our schools. And it has been approved and supported since 1980. And so I will be waiting to see the returns at 8 p.m. this evening. Finally, this past week, our district, neighboring districts, and districts throughout our state and country have seen a number of student walkouts. And I thought I'd take a moment to address these. First and foremost, students have a constitutional right, even when they are young people in our schools, that's protected by the First Amendment and then affirmed by Supreme Court in a continuous line of cases from Tinker versus Des Moines in 1969 to Kennedy versus Bremerton in 2022, to engage in speech or actions that express their personal viewpoints. I want to be clear. We respect and uphold our students' constitutional rights to peaceful expression and assembly, but Federal Way Public Schools and our schools have not planned, have not organized, or approved these walkouts. These events are truly student-initiated and student-led and are not school-sponsored. As a public school district, we are required to balance students' rights with our responsibility to maintain order and protect the rights of others. Peaceful student expression is constitutionally protected right, which limits the district's ability to prohibit it. Our priority in these situations is maintaining, to the best of our ability, a safe learning environment, ensuring student safety, and providing families with clear information. Learning continued with school in sessions while the walkouts were occurring. Federal Way Public Schools security staff, school administration, some school staff, ESC administrators were present for safety purposes only, and they were not participating in the walkout. We were doing our best to support safety and crowd management. Students who left campus were required to check back in through a formal process to ensure campus security. We have always been in communication with our SRO partners, especially if we needed additional support, and that was needed for the safety within the sidewalks and in crossing paths. I think it's important to know that we have and will communicate information to our families related to these events, explicitly sharing our guidelines related to attendance, learning, and school safety, and the restrictions on that once students leave our campus. We also have reiterated that our staff are there to support safety and not to endorse or participate. And we've also encouraged families to engage in informed, thoughtful discussions with their students around the walkouts and the consequences of not attending their scheduled classes. With that said, again, these are constitutionally protected rights for freedom of speech and also peaceful assembly. I just wanted to share that information, as there's a lot of misinformation and misinterpretation of RCWs and policies and procedures that are attempting to be applied to our walkouts, and it's not true. So I thought it necessary to clarify as the leader of Federal Way Public Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Pfeiffer. Next item on the agenda is school board comments. Director Gollins.
Thank you for that update. I really appreciate what the director and the school district has been doing. I actually drove past Federal Way High School right as that walkout was starting. I was happy to see the principal out there and our security staff and Federal Way Police making sure everything was safe. And I came back an hour later and there were a lot of students on the sidewalk with a lot of signs, but nobody was getting in the streets. It looked very safe and respectful, and I really appreciated that. And really appreciate all the great work. And I hope if anyone hasn't voted yet on the levy, please, right after this meeting, go and do it, because those security staff, we wouldn't have them without the EPNO levy. We don't get enough funding for that. The same thing with the girls team that went to state. You know, sports wouldn't happen here without local funding. So really appreciate that, and thank you for all your good work.
Thank you, Director Gollins. I'd like to also reiterate the importance of voting for the EPNO levy. That's very important, and polls close today at 8 p.m. So make sure that you vote, because that is supporting our young people, our programming, our CTE classes, our orchestra, our music, our special education programming, you name it. There's some aspect of it that is supported by the levy, and we are looking forward to having the community support this again as a renewal, not a new tax, and everyone should be helping to support our young people be all they can be. I also want to note, as Dr. Pfeiffer said, that our priority as a district is to ensure that students are safe and behaving responsibly as they engage in their constitutionally protected right to express their beliefs. And they have been notified as to the consequences of missing class, of not being in school during the school day. They understand that they could have an excused absence if they are not in class, and that would be the case whether they are participating in a protest or participating in an activity to celebrate, say, a football team winning a particular game. So either way, they would be subject to the same kind of process. So the students need to understand that. And I am very happy to hear that of the 20,000 plus students, they are the vast majority behaving in safe and responsible ways. So I really appreciate that. Director Phillips.
Thank you. I'm so glad you mentioned about the Seahawks winning, which is a great win. And my son's principal is here. He will be at the parade tomorrow. I'm prepared for the consequences. But yes, I will say, just similarly, I actually was driving to work when I saw the kids headed out from the high school. And yeah, I do appreciate the district for making sure that our students are safe. Technically, I don't think we have to go out there and make sure that the students are safe. But students tend to behave a little bit better when somebody is standing out there, especially when you're trying to get across the street and whatnot. And I'll just say we as a district have worked so hard around a sense of belonging. Regardless of where we're at on things, I think it's important to listen to our youth because those are the people who are serving. They've had other walkouts, and I, made sure to pay attention then when they were worried about safety on Pack Highway. That was a strong impact, and we see changes happening. I think they did another one around their schedules, and that was impactful, and we ended up switching up the schedule. So, it is a long-standing tradition. I asked my mom if I ever participated in any walkouts, and she quickly reminded me of the list. So, it is our students, and I'm glad that they are safe and back in school. I do appreciate the communication. I know I got an email from the district, I got an email from the principal, and then I got a summary after the event of the principal. And just as a parent, that's kind of nice because you know what's going on in your community. So I would just say kudos, and again, getting that attendance notification was helpful. So with that being said, I also agree, please make sure to vote for the levy. And if you're going to be gone at the parade tomorrow, call your schools early and let them know ahead of time. Okay, great.
Thank you, Director Phillips. Vice President Davis.
First, I have to say happy Black History Month. Because of all the people that came before me, I'm able to be here and participate and sit on this board freely. And when we think about the kids' walkouts, I think about my time in college, and it was during apartheid and the March on Washington, and I was at Howard University, and how we had sit-ins. We didn't walk out, but we sat in. We took over a building, but and we thought we were doing something, brave and getting our voices heard. We were like 18, 19-year-olds, and so forth. But it makes you feel like you are part of something and you're adding to a voice, because if you just sit still, you're not, what are you doing? So whether you're for or not for something, you just have to have your own voice, and our kids, they deserve to have their voices as well. So, it's just a back and forth on that a little bit, but I'm glad they were safe. That's the biggest thing, that they were out there safe. And so, the other thing is, I'm like I said, I'm still excited about all these partners we're going to have, or that we have. So that helps me out a lot when it comes to our thinking about what's going to happen next, So we're going to have more CTE programs. We're going to have more of everything because we have people behind us. And like everyone already said about the levy, that's going to help us keep what we have and be able to have more of our safety officers and other programs. So we just have to stay in this together. We are, we are all citizens of Better Way, and I have come to love this city for as long as I've been living here. And so, and I've seen changes, and good and bad, but that doesn't make me not want to be here. So I'm really hoping that we can do what we've done in the past. We get past things, and we get ready for the next thing. We've been through a lot here in Better Way. So, and we stood strong. So I think we'll continue to be that way. So.
Thank you, Vice President Davis. Director Murphy.
I don't have a lot to say about the protests that took place. I was just kind of curious, did they actually walk out during class time, or was it like before and after school, or during their break time? Was it actually during class time?
Those that have occurred thus far occurred, 2 of them occurred in the morning, and then students returned to class. Some remained on the corner in their demonstration. The others occurred at 12:35, and one occurred closer to the end of the day at 2:30.
Okay, thank you. So I did have an opportunity to go to Enterprise School to look at it, and I'm really happy to see the enthusiasm and the individual teaching taking place. We also had a chance to see them doing their planning for, is it the PSYOPs planning? Dr. Pfeiffer, what did we see?
We saw multi-tiered systems of
Oh,
support.
multi-tier. There we go. I got the wrong term. Yeah, that was awesome to see how they really have to get in and really give it some good thought. We did have a chance to see a reading class take place in a 2nd grade in the Book of Wonderings, and they're preparing the kids young. They were talking about social justice and how a woman in West Virginia helped rectify the mining situation that was taking place there. So they're seeing the results of one person's voice. I too support the school levy and hope people will vote for it. And if they don't, it's really going to hurt our kids. So I don't know if people understand that, because I know some people are already talking that they might not. So I'm hoping I can continue to encourage them to vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Murphy. Next item on the agenda is public comment. I have several, so I will read the statement. Federal Way Public Schools Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of involving members of the public in its meetings. Per the Open Public Meetings Act, OPMA, public comment should enhance rather than hinder the effective transaction of the district's business. We respect your perspectives and value your civil input and suggestions. The board will listen to public comment, but we don't respond to public comment. However, depending on the nature of your topic or question, the superintendent may ask district administrative staff to follow up. Please keep your comments brief, concise, respectful, and no longer than 3 minutes. No verbal complaints or charges against any district employee or individual director will be allowed during public comment. Thank you in advance for your comments. The first public comment is Raisa Abdel-Rahman. Raisa? No, okay. All right, okay. The next public comment is Susanna Ramirez.
Good evening. My name is Susanna. I am a student at Decatur High School, and I am worried about my safety and the safety of other people at my school. I would like to make it clear that my concern may come off as politically motivated, but that is not the intent. My intent is to show you how unsafe students at Decatur and possibly across the district feel. In the past 2 weeks, thousands of students in multiple middle schools and high schools across our district have walked out and protested against ICE. Scholars have protested for colleagues and friends who feel unsafe in school, and these students took the time to organize these protests on their own. I created a survey and had about 100 students from Decatur High School answer a few questions about how safe they feel at school, and I hope you find the answers very concerning. I will be leaving copies of the survey for you to analyze if you're interested. Policy 4300 ensures that all students who reside within Federal Way's boundaries can safely access free public education. But I, along with other Decatur students, do not believe the current protocol honors this statement when students cannot get to and from school or even spend the day at school without the fear of getting detained. There are certain spaces at Decatur that are very vulnerable to unauthorized people gaining access to our campus, such as the gate to access our preschool, which stays unlocked for long periods of time. Another safety concern we have is about the doors to our classrooms. Decatur is a very old school, so lots of the doors do not lock properly. Even when they seem locked, a small amount of pressure or weight will make the door pop open. Federal Way is the most diverse district in Washington, and if Seattle schools have already gone into lockdown because of ICE. The chance of Federal Way being a target is very high. What I'm here to ask for is for you to truly ensure safety in our schools. I believe we should follow in the footsteps of Seattle Public Schools and have each school in the district make an individualized protocol that follows guidelines and requirements made by the district, because every school has its strengths and weaknesses based off of how it is built. And the only people who truly know those strengths and weaknesses well are the people who work in those buildings. I will be leaving copies of the Cleveland High School Protocol because it can be used as a good model for what Federal Way schools should put in their protocols. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. Next comment is Amy Johnson.
Good evening, Dr. Pfeiffer, members of school board, scholar representatives, and Susanna, thank you. First, I want to say I voted, so I want to get that off my chest. I am the Reverend Amy Johnson. I have lived in Federal Way for almost 40 years, and I am here to provide witness that our Federal Way scholars' fears about ICE are valid and should be taken seriously. I'm among 650 clergy who answered the call to join interfaith leaders in Minnesota 3 weeks ago for witness and to protest the violent and inhumane treatment of people that is happening on the ground there. Some of our local leaders are implying that people there created the divisiveness, and I am here to tell you firsthand what I know. 100 clergy were arrested at the airport while singing and praying. Others of us experienced a lockdown in a church where we were gathered to learn and pray together due to some violent activity nearby, which was the smashing of a car window by an ICE agent of someone exercising their legal right to simply observe from their car. Nothing aggressive or provocative, simply observing in their car got this person injured. My friends in Minneapolis have told me stories of their children witnessing ICE abductions on school property. And the message that we heard over and over and over again while we were there was clear. Go back to your communities and work together to prepare now. Find ways to keep each other safe now. Don't wait. The scholars who walked out last week are not overreacting. Already, there are community-led safety patrols in place in some areas in our region for the express purpose of helping children get to school safely. It's not divisiveness. It's neighbors looking out for neighbors. Whatever you've heard, I'm here to tell you firsthand that the people in Minnesota did not ask for or create this. My firsthand account is that thousands of people are singing in the streets peacefully, observing, nurturing community where people in power have sought to divide. So I urge you to continue to use your power to listen to our young people. Thank you for your support of their right to free speech and peaceful protest. And please keep your attention on what matters most, keeping our children and our neighbors safe and supporting the people who support them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. The next public comment is Mike Bollich-Ziegler.
Evening, Board President Dr. Jones, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Pfeiffer, and scholar representatives. My name is Mike Bollich-Ziegler. I have a son at Olympic View and a future kindergartner here with me as well. I'm here to stand with our students who chose to walk out this last week, and I appreciate the difficult spot the district was in. The right choice was to prioritize their safety and ensure that their rights are protected. Reflecting back on this week, our students, they face a lot of choices when presented with feelings of fear, not being heard, not feeling like they belong or that they're safe. And we know that those choices can have productive outcomes and really tragic ones. And so to see all of our students have that feeling stand side by side, whether it's for themselves, their loved ones, or their friends, was inspiring, and it made me really proud for the future of our community. Speaking of good trouble, I think that the districts and hopefully some parents might use this to continue the learning opportunity. Also in honor of Black History Month, the great John Lewis has a series called The March Books, graphic novels, and would do a lot to kind of extend what nonviolent protest can look like and what it does. I hope the district does engage with students in their concerns. I expect that they will, and I expect that they come up with some action plans after that. We should all take a moment to take our hands back from the keyboard of the Facebook comments, close our lips, and really listen to our students and open up our hearts, because they are hurting and that fear is real. History shows that when the kids are walking out, they're usually right. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And with that, we are adjourned.